Look, Albanese has somehow managed to make the whole thing about himself and his vendetta against social media. Let's have a quick watch of his comments earlier.
There's a lot of shouting going on. A point is not made more significant by being done in capital letters. Social media is clearly having an impact as well.
Well, Ross, the overuse of caps lock has caused the assassination attempt. I mean, heaven forbid we use bold or italics. What do you make of Albanese?
Yeah, well, I mean, what you see is the immediate study in contrast between a significant, distinctive historical figure who is still very much his own man versus a sort of, one of the Labor's, Albo, I regard as almost a faceless man, a kind of hologram, a purely transactional widget, an algorithm composite figure of, various external pressures. He's not a leader, and he is, in effect, Albo represents the path of least resistance to the status quo, which is a group of very powerful insiders, in particular, media owners who are engaged in a very deep collusion with his government, as indeed the former Liberal National government was in this sort of post-democratic state that we live in, which has got the shopfront mannequin of democratic elections, but the result is, doesn't matter who you vote for, you get the same result. Doesn't matter if you vote against climate change, you will have climate change. You may vote against a voice to Parliament, but you will get a voice to Parliament. And Albo is this perfectly pastel-shaded emblem of complete submission to the machine, whereas Donald Trump, the bloodied and bandaged figure punching the air to fight, is the emblem of resistance to the machine.
But there's something American about a bloke with blood decoratively smeared on his face, standing there with his fist in the air, shouting fight. I mean, it's very American with the flag in the background. A lot of Democrat supporters have been online in the last 24 hours saying, you know what, I was going to vote for Biden, but there's something American about what I just saw, something nostalgic for the days when America was great. Do you think Trump is reinvigorating that American dream?
Well, I think if we net out the tragedy of I think was it Carlo Comparato, I think was the firefighter who was killed, the sort of collateral damage, tragic loss of a life, of a father, a husband gone. But if we move into the macro, there is a sense in which Trump is emerging as a very extraordinary historical figure in the American tradition of sort of, Paul Bunyan, Johnny Appleseed, the founding fathers, the presidents on Mount Rushmore. There is something about this guy that seems somehow unstoppable, that seems almost touched by God. And, just in the last half hour, he's walked into the meeting of the Republican National Convention with a sort of pretty theatrical bandage around the head to the sort of welcome you might have expected of Julius Caesar returning from the Gallic Wars in a Roman triumph. And, we have to say, from a purely sort of Machiavellian political analysis, it was the greatest day of the Trump campaign, possibly the greatest day of any political campaign anywhere in the world, to have come so close, but to have survived, to have stood up defiantly and to continue the race They say there is just demoralisation sweeping across the Democratic National Convention, and I'm not surprised.
Well, you get bonus points for working antiquity into that answer, Ross, but don't take Machiavelli's name in vain or you'll be in big trouble.